In this lesson, we'll learn how to work with set-driven keys in Cinema 4D. Set-driven keys are a quick way to create an expression with Xpresso. What we're going to do is use a set-driven key to have the ship rotate upward as it travels upward in time. Now, just FYI, this lesson is from the previous lesson where we used Xpresso to have the ship travel forward and roll along the way. I'm going to go ahead and select the ship, and we'll go ahead and create a position Y keyframe. Let's head over to Animation, Record, and turn off Link XYZ subchannels so we only animate in the Y axis. I'll also go ahead and turn on World Coordinates, pressing the W key. I'll go ahead and head over to the Animation palette and uncheck everything else except for the Record Position tool. Alright, at that point, underneath Coordinates, let's go ahead and set an initial position Y key of 0 on frame 0. Next, we'll go to frame 90. I'll turn on Auto Key, and I'll go ahead and lift the ship up. Okay, great. Now, one thing we should notice is that we only see our animation path moving vertically. It's not moving forward at all. The reason why is because Xpresso is driving the forward movement of our ship. So if we ever wanted to see an update of that, we could always bake the animation down. And I'll show you how to do that in a lesson to come. Alright, but with that said, what I'd like to do before we actually create the set-driven key is head over to the F-Curve Manager and just adjust the arc of the ship as it travels so you can see the path that it creates. Instead, we'd want more of an arc as it takes off. So I'll go ahead and select this last key and go ahead and just bring the tangent down. Much better. Alright, so now we're ready to work with set-driven keys. With our ship selected, under Mode, we'll go ahead and choose Object. And we'll need to first define our driver. That's going to be our position Y. So I'll go ahead and right-click and choose Animation, Set Driver. Now we'll need to define our driven parameter, which is going to be our pitch axis. I'll go ahead and right-click, head over to Animation. You'll see two options, Set Driven Absolute, Set Driven Relative. Absolute is going to create a direct connection between the driver parameter and its driven, meaning that if the driver is set to, let's say, 100, the driven is also going to be set to that same value of 100. However, with the set driven relative option, we're able to have an offset. So let's say initially our driver was set to 1,000 and then we moved 10 units up. What that means is that our driven parameter is only going to move 10 units. So you kind of get an idea of the offset it creates. Let's go ahead and work with set driven relative. Now you'll find that as we hit play, yes, it's going to work, but our ship is going to move in an awkward way. So let's go ahead and find out why and how to correct that. You'll see that a new Xpresso tag has been created. And just FYI, this actually reads from right to left, meaning if we were to, let's say, create two relationships with our position Z, just to pick on that axis, what's going to happen is that the node furthest to the left is going to cancel out the node next to it to the right. So we want to keep that in mind. If we have position Z movement on this Xpresso node and the one before it, we're not going to see any result from the node to the right, or that tag. Alright, let's go ahead and open up the Xpresso editor. We'll simply double click on the tag, new one that was created. We can see what's driving the functionality, a range mapper, which can also be found if we were to right click in the X Manager, head over to New Node, Xpresso, Calculate, you'll find it closer to the bottom, range mapper. Now this can get quite complex, so let's go ahead and break this down to the simplest form. What we'll find underneath parameter are just a set of values. The 100 means or represents our max value of our position Y. So what this means is that when we get to a value of 100, our output upper, or our pitch axis, is going to rotate 360 degrees. That's why we're getting all of that weird flipping. So what we'd want to do is basically decrease that value. So we could always set this to an output upper of, let's say, 2. So now what's going to happen is as the position Y moves 100 units, our pitch axis is only going to move 2 units, giving us a better result